Hey, how you doing? Good afternoon. Good afternoon here in West Africa, Nigeria, and wherever you're tagging on. So it's 2 p.m. here, West African time, and Sunday we got to do a book club at this time, and we're closing out on our fifth book in the series, which is Bethenny Frankel's book, Business is Personal. Anyways, we continue here with a book and we're closing it. This month, we're doing a review of the book or summary of the book, all we've learned so far in the book. That's what we're doing this month. This Sunday is the third Sunday in that series. We've done 2 Sundays already. Last Sunday, we got up to chapter 7. Today, we're going to be in chapter 8, chapter 9, and chapter 10. Right. That's what we're going to do today. So that's a book, right? And we know that first Sunday in July, we're going to be going to our sixth book in the series. Is The Good Life, right? The Good Life. I'm excited about this book. I get excited about every book we want to read because I pick them for good reason, right? We're not just reading books. We're reading books that will change our life, right? That takes us to the next level of our existence. Right. And that's what I like about this book, The Good Life. It's talking about relationship, talking about happiness, right? To powerful, words, powerful things that increases the our standard of living, right? That raises up, that makes our life gives width to our life. It's not just about the length of life, it gives breadth and width to our life. I'm excited about this book, The Good Life, right? And we're going to start it first Sunday in July, right? All right, I'm going to bring in my slide here. We're going to go with the third part of a book summary of our fifth book. So let me bring up my slides here, and we'll do this. Okay, all right, here we go. A book again, Business is Personal. The truth about what it takes to be successful without losing yourself, right? While staying true to yourself, right? There's a book again, that's a front. And that's our next book, A Good Life. And we've been trying to do some kind of intro into the book, every time we meet, going towards when we start in July. And we started on this, how to transition from a good life to a great life. We did the first 3 points last Sunday. Today we're gonna do the fourth and the fifth, to close this out. I'm gonna wear my glasses. I've been looking too much at the screen and it's a bit blurry. So let me use my glasses here on this. Again, it's going from we'll look at that quote by Saint Jerome, right? Growth is the essence of life. If you don't grow, you cannot be happy. To be happy, you have to grow. If you don't grow, you will not be happy. You grow, right? Growth is the essence of life. Growth gives you width, brings width to your existence, right? It's not just about the longevity, but it spices your life, right? It seasons your life, right? So that's why growth is important. Happiness is important, right? It's not just about passing through life, right? You want a life that is rich, and you get that by growing. You get that by being happy. Yeah. And it's not a make-believe happy. You want that happiness also to be genuine, to come from the depth of your being. But that's why you need to do the things that bring about that. And that's what we're going to be doing in our next book, right? But we're looking here at how to have a good life and how to transition from not just a good life, even to a great life. I would say the next thing here is we need to cultivate personal discipline, right? So the only way you're going to grow, the only way you're going to meet the targets, whatever target you set for yourself, the only way you're going to leave heaven here and heaven even in the world to come is by discipline. Right? Discipline is, the Bible is scripturally, the Bible uses the word that when it talks about the hammer of the Christian, it says the belt of truth, the belt of truth, the belt of truth. Another way of using the word there is the discipline of truth. The belt is discipline. What the belt does, another word for the belt is guido. What the belt does in a dressing is to hold it all together, hold it all together, so that things don't fall apart, right? So that your dressing does not disturb your movement, does not disturb your activity, so that your, excuse me, I gotta blow my nose. So your blessing, right? Pardon me. So that your blessing, your dressing is held together. It has the right fitting, right? You use the belt to hold it together, right? And the Bible says, in your dressing, your armory, it's truth. So the word belt there is the same word you can use as discipline. The Bible says, hold it all together with the discipline of truth, right? Without truth, you cannot achieve any aim that you set for yourself. Because don't forget, the good things are always working in the opposite direction to the negative gravitational pull, right? Right. Everything, if left on its own, it's set to decay in a sense, right? Things when the freshness of the water is typically at the source. So if you're going to go, if you're looking for the source of all that is good, you're going to have to swim against the tide. All right, not the tide, we'll call it a tide, but you have to swim upstream to get to the best, right? To get clean water, to go to the source, right? The same thing in life, right? If you're just going to stay in the water, dead fish go downstream. They are swept downstream by the water, right? But life fish swim upstream to get to fresh water, to get to cleaner water, right? Same thing with life, right? If you do nothing, you will be poor. If you do nothing, you will not have a good life. If you do nothing, your life will be torn apart, right? There are several things all around that wanting to push you here or there, not wanting you to be focused, not wanting you to make it in life, right? Those things are not necessarily bad in themselves, but is the way you use them. For instance, today's Father's Day. Let's talk about man. A man is designed to be hypnotized by a woman. That's just the way God made it. God made men to be attracted to women. That is not bad in itself. But when not cultured right, when not done in the right way at the right time in the right place, then it becomes a evil. That which is good becomes evil because of a lack of discipline, a lack of procedure, a lack of etiquette, right? So the same thing with discipline. We need discipline to be cultured right, to achieve that which we have set out to achieve, not just anything, right? Another way of looking at it is this. The Bible talks about that there is the way that leads to heaven. It's a straight road, it's a narrow road, right? It's one that you can easily miss it if you don't focus on it, right? The one that leads to death, leads to hell, is a broad road. You don't have to do anything. You don't need discipline to go to hell, whether in this life or in the life to come. But to go to heaven, to get your goal, to live a happy life, to live a good life, to live a rich life, to live a wealthy life, you need discipline, because not all roads go there. And you can't walk anyhow on the way there, right? So that's a power of discipline, right? That's a power of discipline, right? You don't do things because you feel like it. You do things because you know you have to do it. Another way of looking at discipline is instinct as against judgment, right? If you live your life by instinct, you will go to hell, because feelings are finicky, right? You cannot trust your feelings. You cannot just trust your instincts.
Yeah, instincts are good for animals. Yes. That's why they will go to once their instincts tell them, even if there's danger, they'll go in a part of danger, right? But human beings, even though we have instincts, we're given something that is more than instincts, the ability to reason, the ability to think, the ability to contemplate, and the ability to make decisions. That is our leverage position above animals. That is why we can do more things than animals. That's why we're more like God, right? So ability to live above my instinct, my feelings, requires me to be disciplined, right? So let's look at this quote by Jim Whittaker. He says, you can never conquer the mountain. You can only conquer yourself, right? So in everything you do, every task you have, it's you conquering the resistance, right? The part of you or the part of life that wants to keep you away from achieving the goal, achieving the prize. Is you doing things that you might not necessarily feel like doing because you have made a decision, a judgment that that's the right thing for you to do. It is being responsible for your journey of life, right? It's not blaming any other person, right? Not blaming your feelings, not blaming the environment, but you taking a life, taking a hold of life, and directing it in the way that you want, directing it in the path of the deer that you have seen, the vision you are seeing, right? So self-discipline is the ability to push yourself forward, right? To stay motivated and take action, regardless of how you're feeling, physically or emotionally. That's powerful. No excuses, right? Second part, on this is talking about we need to set goals that stretch us. You need to have goals, something that is bigger than you, something that awakens all your ability, all your senses, to go after something, something that calls that awakens the giant in you. If you do something that is not bigger than you, something you've always done before, then you can do it without thinking. But if you're set to do something that is bigger than you, something you've not done before, something that's going to stretch you, then your conscious mind is called to action. Your conscious mind is called to action. Your conscious mind, it gives a task even to your unconscious mind that we're going to war. We're going to war. We're going to war. We're going to do something that is big. We're going to set a record. We want to achieve hero status. We want to raise the standard of our living. We want to live up to creation's call concerning us, right? You awaken the giant inside of you. You awaken the king inside of you, right? That is why we set goals that are bigger than us, right? And another thing also is that it doesn't make you feel, it keeps you awake. You don't feel like you don't get tempted to think that you have arrived, right? You don't have that arrive sense, which then takes you into a place where you are slack, right? It takes you to a comfort place, which is a place of debt, right? You give yourself a goal, so you have something to press towards, something you can believe God for, something you are not just depending on your own strength, something that you're calling, powers from the invisible realm able to help you, right? To make a difference for you, something that stretches you to be able to look for even go beyond, over and above what you've done before, something that stretches your imagination, something that makes you think, something that makes you create, right? That keeps you alive, right? Life is not about doing the same old thing. You're gonna get bored. When you to get excited about life, to add spice to your life, to raise the standard of your living, to increase the width of your existence, you need to be pressing towards new territories, as it were, to conquer, right? And that's why we think big. That's why we have a goal that is bigger than us, right? For us in our farm, our essence of all that we do is to change lives, right? We've set a goal to modernize the village or a host village and all other things. Those are things that are bigger than us, right? To say you want to modernize a village, that is a big goal, right? But we know it's possible, and also it's stretching us. What other people will think that they have achieved. We have not even started, right? Because everything we're doing is to raise money to be able to achieve our goal. So we know that small money is not our goal, right? And we're not doing it for the sake of just, we feeling big that we have arrived. Is to change lives, 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 to make God happy concerning us, to make God, to pay the right of our existence, the right of our passage. Is the right of our passage even here is to leave our name a dent in this life, is to leave a legacy behind us, is to immortalize our name even in this place, and that keeps you happy, that makes you fulfilled, that gives you a joy to see the effect you're having in other people's life, right? That you're not a waste, you're not just taking oxygen for nothing, but you are causing joy to be even in heaven concerning your existence. The Bible says that we're God's handiwork that He has created even before. He has created us. He has carved us for good works that He had prepared even before we came. Right? That good works is not in the common. That good work is in the uncommon. Right? Is in the uncommon. Is in the extra. Is in the extra. God did not waste time to carve us to do just the ordinary, right? He carved us to do the extraordinary, and you're only going to get to the extraordinary, by casting your vision, on things that are bigger than you, some things that will stretch you, things that will make you dig deep, to get done, right? And that's where you're gonna, bring, as it were, wheat, seasoning, elevate your living, right? So, alrighty. So we're doing a summary running through chapter 8, chapter 9, and chapter 10 today, right? So the print is small, so I gotta use glasses. All right. So when we looked at chapter 8 of the book, it was titled "Keep Your Circle Tight." Keep your circle, your team, tight. Make and guarantee. Those are your team. As it were. You're guaranteeing. Those that you're trusting in, that they would be there to do what they are expected to do. When called upon, or they're doing their work. So. The first step to knowing who your friends are is to know yourself. Just looking at it from our lives as a whole, the first steps, if you're gonna know who your friends are, you're trying to make friends, you're trying to be close to people, you must know yourself, because yourself is the person that's going to relate with the person you're calling your friend. If you don't know yourself, you can't know your friends. If everybody is your friend, then you don't know yourself, because if you know yourself, everybody cannot be your friend, right? Because if you know yourself, then you know that you have a personality. Your personality has limitations, right? As much as you're not going to bind yourself by that limitation, you must also respect the limitation, because everything you do outside the limitation is strain on your person, is a depletion of your strength. Everything you do within your personality, is probably filling your tank. Everything you do outside your personality is draining you, right? So you want to reduce the drain and increase things that feed you. You want to do things that feed you, right? Not things that take away from you. Because if you always do things that take away from you, one time you don't do that, you don't take caution, you can get to the place where you go to zero, you get exhausted, right? A lot of people do that because they don't know themselves, they don't know where to stop. They keep on giving, and suddenly they break down, To different degrees, depression, or whatever it is. But you need to know yourself so that you can have what you call a sustainable relationship with others. Not one that you get to ground zero, but one that you can keep going continually because you are refueling, right? So for you to know your friends, for you to know the people you need to spend time with, people you not to spend time with, you need to know yourself. Because then you know yourself, then you know the people that drain you, you know the people that feed you. You know the people that drain you, you know the people that feed you. Then you manage your time around each one so that you don't never run out of energy. You never run out of emotional strength, emotional fuel, right? You have enough love to go around to share with people without getting to zero, right? That's important, right? That we came up with as tied to Sun Tzu's quote, where it talks about that, if you don't know your enemy, right, and if you know yourself, you don't know your enemy, you're not gonna win every war, right? If you know yourself and you don't know your enemy, you're not going to be able to win wars guaranteed. You must know yourself and you must know your enemy. Then you can plan a right. Another one that we looked at recently is Spartacus, right? What they call him, the gladiator Spartacus, and he puts it this way. He says that his confidence is from knowing his fears and the fears of his enemies. In a sense, it's also saying knowing myself and knowing the people I want to relate with or not to relate with, and I'm able to then guard myself, right? So who you are determines who you can be, who you are, and who you will be. There's no gainsaying about that. If you don't treat that right, it will only be to your downfall, right? Who you are determines who you can be, who you are, and who you will be, right? An adult and your attitude, your basic personality is already formed, right? And you don't need to change it. There's nothing wrong with your personality. Every personality has weaknesses and strengths. There's no bad personality. You just need to understand it, right? And use the strength and guard against the weakness. Every personality has weaknesses and strengths. There's nothing wrong with your personality. You just need to understand what are the strengths, then build excellence based on the strengths. What are the weaknesses? Then guard against those weaknesses so they don't bring about your downfall. All right. It's not about wanting to, someone wrote something about not about wanting, it's not about being an introvert and you want to be an extrovert, or an extrovert wants to be an introvert. I mean, those are exercises in vain, in futility. Wrong. There's nothing wrong whether you're an introvert or an extrovert. There's nothing wrong with either. You just need to know who you are and use who you are to get what you want. Right? Not try to be who you're not. That brings the point of authenticity, right? I love the way Oprah Winfrey says it. He says that, if only she had known, that being yourself will make you a lot of money, she would have been herself a long time, because it claims that all the money she's made has been because she was herself, right? She became authentic. I mean, authentic made her money. And I read stories of several other people, including Amy and Limmer, that we started, which was our second book. And they'll talk about the power of being authentic, right? Being authentic will break through for you. It's your winning formula. You don't win by trying to be who you're not. You win by being who you are, right? And also knowing yourself, knowing the people you want to relate with, it goes with the scriptures. Says two cannot walk together except they be agreed, right? And agreement means that there is a commonality between the two. If I'm going to relate with someone, I must have a commonality between that person. There must be some kind of overlap. Our relationship is going to be at the overlap. If you're talking to someone who you're entirely, you have nothing in common, then you cannot go together. You're destined not to work together, because two cannot work together except they be agreed. Now, agreement now could be in different form. It could be different levels of overlap, right? Will then determine how close or unclose, you can work with that person, whether that person is just going to be a mere acquaintance, or it's going to be a friend, a tight friend, whatever. Is a function of how much commonality you all have together, right? And so as we get older, we don't lose friends, we know who the true friends are, right? As you get older, you get hopefully understand yourself more, understand others more, people begin to fall off, right? Because you begin to know, as you begin to be more authentic, to things, to the knowledge you're gaining. So two things you never have to chase two things. You never have to change true love or true friends, right? True love attract, true friends attract, commonalities bring people together, right? So, and uncommonality draws people apart. That's why you talk about, so in marriages where you talk about, people say that they grew apart. They grew apart. They grew apart. That's why a lot of marriages, fall apart, because they grew apart. They were not growing together. They grew apart, right? When you don't have commonality, then it's difficult to work together, right? And you don't want to hang it. And that part of that might be, you don't want to hang around garbage, right? You're going to smell, right? So you want to choose your friends, and hopefully each one will take care of themselves, such that that will build the commonality that will be growing together, not a growing apart, right? That's important, in keeping friendship. I'm going to go on. That's all we had for chapter 8. We're on to chapter 9, and chapter 9 talked about run the marathon, pretty much live life. Life is a marathon, not a sprint, right? It's not about, you have a whole lot of life ahead of you. And M56 this year. I posted a picture of myself with my children 18 years ago today as part of a commemoration of Father's Day. 18 years ago was almost like that was all there was life to. It's almost 20 years now, 2 decades after, and there's still so much more in front of me. So much more life in front of me, so we don't run to exhaust life, because life, there's time for everything you want to do in life. I know it doesn't look like that, but there is time. I tell you, with the benefit of 56 going to 60, there is time. That's why we're talking about long-term, short-term, right? We're talking about having a plan for your whole existence, see yourself in your deathbed, what would you want to have accomplished by the time you're dying, you're leaving the scene, break it down, bring that future to the present, and let them now decide how you want to break all of that big lifetime goal, break them down into pieces, and then begin to chunk on them one after the other. Your lifetime goal is like a mountain, right? You don't move a mountain at once, but you start moving it one stone at a time, one stone at a time, one stone at a time, right? Before you know it, the mountain has moved, right? Don't go trying to move a whole mountain. Move it one stone at a time, one stone at a time. That's the way to succeed in life. That's the way to be wealthy in life. That's the way to have a good life. And that's the way to have a great life, right? So life is not a sprint. It's a marathon, right? Life has to live accordingly. And one of the things I said repeatedly as we shared this chapter was the parable of the wise and the foolish virgin. And what we'll learn from that parable is the need to be both short-term and long-term. Short-term and long-term. It's not short-term or long-term. It is short-term and long-term. In our planning, in our outlook, and in our living, we must be short-term, long-term, right? So, yeah, the foolish virgins only took enough oil to wait for the bridegroom. They assumed that the bridegroom will come on time, so they did not take extra oil. The wise ones took oil for if the bridegroom comes on time, but they considered if the bridegroom delayed, they held extra oil for the delay. They were both short-term and long-term. That is the way to live life successfully, right? So you have to be prepared to win all the days of your life, not just win in your teens, your 20s, your 30s, your 40s. Your plan must be a lifetime goal, a lifetime winning, a lifetime victory, a lifetime good life. You don't just plan for your working life, you also plan for your retirement, right? You plan for till you leave this place, you must have a plan, right? There's no retirement. You must have a plan of what you'll be doing and how you will live successfully until you die, right? That is wisdom. That is what God expects of us all to do, right? You must be prepared for the visible and the invisible future, right? We're here to use life. Life was created for us. We're not created for life, right? We are here to use life, not life using us, right? There's no excuse of not succeeding because of age. We're here to succeed, right? He that put us here, plan that we will succeed regardless of the season of life, right? We're to succeed in season and out of season, right? So we continue in chapter 9, and we said, when life happens, we can trust that it happened for us and not against us, right? We will have incidents along the way. It's all part of life. Life happens. It's part of life, right? There's no guaranteed life, right? Life happens. Life is not a straight line. Life is a curved, rough line, all of that. That's what life is, and the earlier you get, you fall in line with that, the better for you. I tell that from the benefit of being in depression, 2 times. So life is what life is. Life does not. When life happens, it happens for you, not against you. It's up to you to use it, not cry. Right? It's not the end of life. Whatever happens to you, you use it. You rise up to the occasion. You rise above it. You grow above the circumstance and use it, right? Not allow it to overwhelm you, right? We were created to succeed. That's the given, right? The first response to a state of confusion should always be calmness. And you see that in scriptures. Every time there's a state of confusion, there's trouble, God's word is be still. Be still, be still, because when you're not still, you can't hear from God. When your whole life is upside down, you can't hear from God, and you need guidance to win. You need guidance to win. Your guidance is coming from the inside of you. If you are not allowing peace on the inside, then you can't hear. You can't receive guidance. You need to hear. You need to receive guidance so you can win, right? So you need to be still. When things go the way you planned it, rest, be still, and trust that God's got you. The universe got you. You were created to succeed. There's always a way when there seems to be no way, but you need to listen to your guidance system so you can find the way that it already has been provided for you, right? So you got to be calm when things don't go your way so you can get guidance, right? So life is about, a win-win or no deal, life as a whole. And when we do a win-win or no deal, that comes from love and faith. That's the way God created it. We should never be pressured to making a decision. We should not be doing a win-lose or lose-win relationship or engagement itself, right? We should not rush into an engagement or relationship. We need to sit back and think through, and never do anything out of fear. Whatever we do, let it be that it's a decision we're taking the depth of our being, we're deciding to have a win-win or a no deal. That's important. And that's all we did on chapter 9. So we're going to go on to chapter 10 here, which is the last chapter we're looking at today. And the title of chapter 10 was Protect the Realm, which is pretty much guaranteeing the quality of what you do, protecting your brand, right? We all have a brand. It's about the need to protect your brand, protect who you are, right? And I've had that, several in my life, several incidents of life, has brought that to fore for me. Back 23 years ago, I put in all my energy doing some work and I didn't get the reward for it, so the question was, should I stop putting my energy into work? I had to make a decision, that I was going to continue being myself, right? Even if man would not reward me, God will, right? And all that I learned that year, I made a judgment that it wasn't to waste. Nobody can take away what I learned in that year. Even though I didn't get the reward from man, I believed and I trusted that God will reward me, right? So I kept my brand. My brand is always working with the whole of my heart, right? Everything that I do with the whole of my heart, right? That's what scriptures tells us anyway, that we should do everything heartily as unto the Lord. And that's what guides my life. Whatsoever I'm doing, I don't do it for the money, so what I'm doing it in church, friends, group, everyone that knows me can testify that everything that I do with the whole of my being, right? So much so a lot of people seem to think that I must be getting something that they don't know about. No, it's just who I am, right? I put all that I am into everything that I do, whether there is monetary reward or not. It's just the way I get fulfilled, doing it. So what we're talking about here, is guaranteeing whatsoever standard, you've come about for yourself, So like I gotta say, I said, my work is my signature, and that's a signature for all of us. Everybody would judge you by the work that you do. It's your signature, right? People should know you by the work that you do, right? So that's why I gotta say I work for free, because I don't work for money. I just enjoy what I do. And when I enjoy what I do, I give my heart to it. It makes me happy, so I work for my happiness. I work for my joy. I work for my fulfillment. Money is something else, yeah. I do know how to make money. So it's got nothing to do with the work that I do. I do know how to make money, and I use those principles to make money, whether it's tied to what I'm doing or not, So the quality of your work will be long remembered, after the speed or the cheapness of the price of which you did it, So your work leaves a memory in the minds of people. What kind of memory do you want to leave, right? So we all need to determine our value system that we want to lead by. We need to have a moral compass which guides all that we do. Otherwise, we might be gone with the wind, right? The wind all around trying to push us one way or the other. What gives us stay as an anchor is what we have determined to be our moral compass. What we have determined to be our values. Those are the things that keep you at peace, that make you happy, or do the things that will make you happy. Those are the things that keep you from going for a temporal enjoyment, at the risk of, a permanent, dissatisfaction, right? But you have to be clear as to what your values are, what your moral compass is, what is it that you believe in, and and use that to make judgments that guide your life, right? Don't forget, your conscience is not the voice of God. You can kill it, right? If you do something so long, your conscience will be at peace with it, right? First of all, it's going to trouble you, but if you do it, it will be at peace with you, with it, because your conscience is no more talking. Doesn't mean that what you're doing is right. Conscience is a voice of your mind, right? And it is programmed. You can program it to be a guide or to be your ally. It's up to you, right? So we talked about perfectionism. I used to be a perfectionist. I'm a recovering perfectionist, and perfectionist is not a strength, right? It's too outward focused. We should live our lives to express our being, not impress people, right? Express our being. We're not called to be slaves. We're freeborn, right? And everyone, we have something in us that others need. Should be about giving that, not trying to make people happy in their misery. That's important. And we're talking about being authentic, right? You have to determine being authentic and having quality. You're you and you're enough, right? You're you and you're enough. I see that statement is it's trying to take this statement out. Yeah, but I see it two ways. More delete this part here. Yeah, you and you're enough, right? And yeah, every value that you determine that you have will be tested, right? The question and what is truly a value is a value uphold when you are tested. You have to be willing to defend your value, otherwise it's not yours, right? If you don't if value you don't defend, it's a value you don't have, right? And we need to be intentional, about leaving, right? And there's our quote which says intentionality is a fuel of masters. Anything you want to be a master of, you have to be intentional about it. You have to be proactive about it. That's how you become the master. If you just do it when you feel like doing it, you will always be you always be an amateur in it. Masters go beyond feelings, they make judgments, right? So if there's a problem, address it. Don't deny it, work on it, sort it out, right? You have to be you have to be sincere with yourself. That's how you protect your brand, and live to the height of whatever it is that you're involved in. All right, that's a rush through a summary for chapter 8, chapter 9, and chapter 10. All right, that's all I got. I'm going to shut this down here. Thanks for staying with me. I'll be back next Sunday and we'll go ahead and do the summary for chapter 11, 12, 13, and the epilogue, So then up on Sunday, we'll start with a new book, The Good Life. All right. Thank you. God bless you. Have a great